To be here. It's simply completely unique. There is nothing else like it on the planet. It's all about humans. It's human stories. They're completely alone. They can't bring family, friends. There is no outside assistance. Everything that moves their boat through the water is because of the skipper. It's a completely unscripted adventure. No one knows exactly what's going to happen.
McIntyre Golden Globe, around the world from the south to north, December 6, 26. Yay!
Well, here we go again. Daniel, good to finally catch up. This is our first time on video, right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
So I actually see. I saw you and Jane in Les Sables d'Olonne on the prize giving for the 2022 race, but I just walked past you. You seemed too busy, so I just.
Yeah, there was a lot going on then. In fact, yeah, it was crazy time, crazy day, that one. Hard to believe, actually, that it was 3.5 years ago, or 3 years ago or something. Crazy.
Yeah.
So where are you at the moment? It looks like you're on your boat for a start, but whereabouts?
Yeah, I'm not. This is not. This is my boat, but it's not OE32. It's Sweden Yacht 38. This is where I live.
Oh, okay. So you live. So you got two boats, and you're living on the 38.
Yeah. So it's. I bought it 10 years ago or something.
Yeah.
And with the plan on one day go on out cruising again or something, or maybe do a solo circumnavigation non-stop with this boat. But then all of a sudden this Golden Globe race opportunity came up, and I bought the OE.
Okay, so you've got an OE32. It's a great boat. In fact, while we're talking about it, I've got some pictures here. I think a lot of people know what the OE32 is. And you've done a really interesting job and documented it really well on Facebook, by the way, if anyone wants to know what's going on. So do you like the boat? Like, obviously, you bought the boat especially for the race. How long have you had that?
I bought the boat, it's over 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
So I bought the boat, about 3.5 years ago, something. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I bought it. I just bought it because it came up at a good price, and I had signed up for the Golden Globe race, and I was looking at other boats as well, and this one showed up in Sweden, so I just bought it. Yeah.
Okay, so that's cool. Let's go right back to the beginning. I always like hearing how everything evolved. So, what was your early childhood life like, and when did you first get into sailing, and where did it bring you to today? Where you're actually in the race.
Yeah, I grew up on the countryside in Sweden, among farms and so on. We didn't have a farm, but we lived like on the country where. So I ran around in the forests, and I always loved water, but we didn't have any sailboats or big lakes or anything. So it was just small rowboats and stuff, and that's where I grew up, at a tiny place in Sweden.
Yeah. What was the first job you had? Like when you got out of school, what were you doing?
Mechanic. I've been a truck mechanic for 8 years or something.
Yeah. Okay. And what were your parents doing? Oh, hang on. We haven't got into sailing yet. When did you start sailing then?
That was later in life. That was let's go. After I was a mechanic for, I first worked 4 years in Sweden as a mechanic, and then I went on a little adventure and ended up in Norway and got a job there as a mechanic. And I thought I had to do something else, so I tried to become a firefighter.
A firefighter?
Yeah, but I didn't become a firefighter because the other ones had this commercial diving school. So I applied for that school, and that took me to Bergen in Norway, where I got a job on a boat as a commercial diver. And yeah.
And what sort of diving was it? Was it deep saturation diving, or just describe the diving, because not many people do that?
Yeah, no, it's not saturation diving. It's normal surface supplied diving down to 50 meters. So I've been doing a lot of different stuff. Started off working on fish farms, and but mostly I've been in the construction business. Yeah, you're like
Bridges and stuff like that.
yeah, bridges and docks and quays and yeah.
That would have been interesting. Did you have any hairy moments? Because diving's got risk.
Yeah, I mean, I've been diving for 24 years or something, so
Far out.
yeah, so a few things have happened, but slowly it become. When I started, it was like a little bit of cowboy mentality in the business, but now it's much better. So now it's very safe. Yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me of Philippe Jonteau. You probably, I don't know whether you know Philippe's story. You know, he's very famous. He did the first VOC challenge in 1982. That's when I first met him, and he was a saturation diver. You know, made all his money diving, and he went on to do VOCs, and he started the Vendée Globe and all the rest of it. You know, he went from diving to sailing. So okay, we haven't even now. We're getting to when did you start sailing and why?
The reason I started sailing was I liked traveling. I was out backpacking for half a year, and I went backpacked around the world in my 20s. And then one day on the dive boat, I talked to a colleague of mine, and I said I really want to go traveling again. And he said, "Yeah, but you should buy a boat. You should buy a sailboat and sail." I said, "Can you do that?" yeah, you can do that. People buy a sailboat and they sail away. So then I started looking at boats, and I bought the boat. And 2 years later, I sailed away. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the first trip? Did you get around the world before?
Yeah, that was the first trip. I more or less just did a few test sails in the fjord, and then I went to Shetland, Scotland, and came back 4 years later after a Finnish lap around the world. Yeah.
Yeah. And so did you go? Was it Panama and all that sort of stuff, or?
Yeah, Panama and around after the Indian Ocean, around South Africa and up the Atlantic.
Yeah. And so, what was the boat again? What was that boat?
It was similar to the boat. She had the SNS 34. It was a similar type of boat. It was an Alo 33, so it was kind of this even more extreme IOR type boat.
Yeah. Oh, perfect boat. And what wind vane did you have then?
I had a hydrovane.
Right. Okay. And what year was that? What was the time frame?
I left in 2008, and I came back 2012.
Jeepers, you're still in the groove. It's not that long ago. So that bodes well, because the one thing every finisher we've had in the GGR has basically sailed around the world before, you know, and that sort of puts you in a good position. So, and you would have been using GPS in 2008. So have you learnt Celestial, or were you using it for fun back then, or?
No, I learned that now for the GGR. So I learned it actually not this summer, not last summer, but the summer before.
Yeah.
Last summer, and Anyway, I learned it way back, and then Per Nyman came and visited me here in Bergen. Yeah. And I should show him how to do it, and I hadn't done it for half a year, and I couldn't figure it out. So now I had gone through everything again, and so now it sticks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. So that's pretty cool. That explains a lot of things, because you did your fit out with great detail. You know, your preparation, and you came up with all sorts of ideas, which based on your past experience. So there's no question. I mean, your boat looks really good. I've got to say, the preparation looks fantastic. So are you just about there now? You must be finished the full prep, refit, and ready to do your qualifier.
Yeah, I'm more or less ready. I painted this high visibility orange today.
Yeah.
And now I just need to tune the rig, put the sails on, and there are a few more things. So I'm gonna go work one more time up And when I get off work in 1st of May or something, then I have about 1 or 2 week, maybe 3 week preparation. So I hopefully leave in the end of May. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So walk me through the decision to do the GGR. Did when did you first hear of the GGR, and what happened and what evolved to today?
I first heard about it during the 2018 race, probably around the time when ROV was dismasted.
Okay.
I got into it like in the middle of the race, and I started following it then. And I thought this because I have when I was out on my previous sail, like cruising, then I read all these books. So I more or less decided then that one day I'm gonna sail around the world nonstop.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm watching this Golden Globe race again, which and I had read all the books and so on, and I thought, shit, I should have been there. And then all of a sudden I see it pops up again in 2022. I thought it was a one-off in 2018. So then I really started following it, and as soon as you could apply for the 26th race, I sat down and wrote an application.
Yeah, so it was pretty straightforward. I mean, having sailed the circumnavigation already, you knew all about it. How far south did you go in your circumnavigation cruise? Was that just the trade winds, or?
Yeah, I went around South Africa. Then that was the furthest south I've done. Yeah.
Yeah, and were you solo most of the time then, or you had your girlfriend, wife? Are you married now? You got kids and stuff, or not?
I don't have kids, and I'm not married now. I'm single, and on that trip I sailed 99.5% solo. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was fun. So
that's cool. I had some visitor in the Caribbean islands. My sister came and visited me, and a friend, and so on. And otherwise, I sailed alone.
Yeah, and that was 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, God, that's amazing, eh? I'm very envious of
Yeah,
that one.
When I got home, I was totally broke. I had like 300 euros or something in my bank account.
Yeah.
And the boat was a wreck, and nothing worked, and everything leaked. And
Okay, so that's cool. So, have you got a relationship with your OE32 at the moment? Like, you feel very, how do you feel about your boat?
I'm impressed. I never sailed a long keeled or a full keeled boat before, so this is the first one I sailed, and I'm really impressed of how well it sails, and I think it's actually kind of fast.
Yeah. So can you walk us through your refit, like with the key items that you've done to get the boat ready to go?
Yeah, it was the biggest thing is I kept the original mast because to save some money, but I changed more or less everything from backing plates inside the mast, and I oversized the wires a little bit. I went with 8mm diaphragm and added some extra rigging because I have, so I feel my rig is sturdy, new shin plates, and inside the boat I did a big job with strengthening. Some furniture were just, the boat was built by a yard, and the interior supposed to be mounted by the first owner. The interior was built by the yard, but it should be mounted by the first owner, and it was loose everywhere. So I removed a lot of it and added some extra structures, partial bulkheads, and glassed it all in and reinforced the cabin top where the window sits. Yeah, that seems. I thought that was a weak spot on the OE, so and I put a new engine in, and I made many watertight compartments.
Including closing off the bulkhead between the saloon and the galley sort of nav area with a door, which is really cool. I get it. I haven't got a problem with that. Yeah.
That is mostly. It works fine as a watertight bulkhead up to a certain point, but it's mostly to have a wet area and a dry area.
Yeah, exactly.
And also,
that's a good idea.
Yeah, and also a place when you get dressed, you have like hip holes. You can lean into something everywhere without falling.
Yeah. I'm a great believer of posts. They're the best handholds. For some reason, it's just up and down where you walk through. So, and I followed all your strengthening and so on. Was that partly because of what happened to Vig, or you just decided that anyway? Because just to fill people in, when RV got knocked down, it basically, the boat got thrown through the air and bottomed out in the trough. It was a classic knockdown where the boat got momentum before it hit the water, and it cracked bulkheads, tore the cabin top, and all sorts of issues, you know.
Yeah, it was maybe influenced by that a little bit, but I had the windows were leaking, so when I removed them and I started to feel how that structure felt, it felt too thin and too flimsy.
Yeah.
And I also knew that RS boot cracked in that area, so I beefed it up with like 4 layers of 4 or 5 layers of 450 gram biaxial.
Yeah.
And,
it's massive now. I mean, that'll touch wood. That'll never move, you know. It was a huge job, but it's comforting when you're, 2 o'clock in the morning when it's 15-meter seas and blowing 60 knots or something. It's a good job. So you got the hydrovane again. What else has you got? What's your cooking and stuff? What stove you got?
I bought a 2-burner. What do you call it? Like liquor
Origo?
stove. Yeah, Origo. Yeah.
Origo. Yeah, they're the best. Yeah.
So I actually had a 2-burner stove Origo with an oven, but I removed that because it was. It was like 50 kilos or something. It was enormous.
Yeah. Geez, they're worth gold now. They're the best stoves ever. They had to stop selling them because it's carcinogenic. Alcohol is carcinogenic in America, and they stopped selling them. Crazy. That's cool. So you're looking really good. And have you managed to do everything you wanted to? Because time's out now. And you're going to do your qualifier very soon. So is the boat fully prepped?
Yeah, more or less. There's one big thing I haven't. That's only 50% done, and that's I made an trim tab. I added some hinges on the back of the rudder, and I made a trim tab rudder, and I made the mechanism that's gonna go in the air.
Yeah.
But I have to mount it, and I have to tune it, and so I'll bring it to France and see if I can do it there.
Yeah.
I had to have a spare. Yeah.
That's a good backup, eh? That's a trim tab system is very efficient and very reliable. So that's a good idea. Okay, well I look forward to seeing that anyway. And so, what do you think is your biggest challenge now between now and the start? Right. Although I think that's pretty simple. You're looking very organised. You're looking like a professional diver that understands checklists and responsibilities and self-discipline.
I think I'm pretty organized with most things, but then there's also like the life back here in Norway to take care of. Someone, I own an apartment that I rent out, so that will be left to someone to look after, and then I have someone will have to pay my bills and do the taxes.
You need a manager anyway. Have you got a manager yet? Your GGR manager?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And,
that's cool. Yeah. So and now into the race. Assume you've started, right?
Yeah.
And you're now on your way. What do you think is the biggest challenge to get to the finish line?
That's probably to stay. To don't get overexcited and push too hard, and I think you have to try to be consistent and thoughtful in everything you do, so you don't do any stupid mistakes.
Yeah, you got to pace yourself. Do you think the boat's up for carrying the weight of everything you need? Like, have you imagined or listed the weights that you're going to be carrying on the boat, and you think the boat's big enough, or are we bogged down?
I think so. I think I will be adding about a ton or something like that.
Yeah.
And no, we'll see. Jeremy did very well. He had a lot of bad weather and stuff, but he's from South Africa, so maybe he's used to that kind of weather. So
yeah. How much water are you carrying?
I'm thinking about 450 liters.
Sheepers, where are you putting all that? That's cool.
I have 3 tanks. They are original, and then jerry cans.
Yeah. Okay, well, 450 liters.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
because
plenty.
I tested here for 10 days. I measured everything I drank, and
Yeah,
I need about 2.2 liters per day.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's pretty good. That's a good feeling because you should be able to catch some as well. And what's your food plan? Have you got your wet food, freeze dried? What's happening?
Yeah, wet food, 1 box a day, and
Yeah,
then I add a bunch of freeze dried to have if as a backup, because it doesn't weigh much, but then I'll need to catch water anyway. So yeah.
yeah. And your sales? How many sales are you going to take?
15 or 20. No, no, I will take everyone that is allowed. So that's probably 9 plus 2, isn't it now?
Yeah, 9. Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, so that's my biggest supporter so far is Rolly Tasker, and they gave me a great deal early, so I bought all the sales from them.
yeah. Cool. Yeah, they're pretty good. They're sort of our partners as well. We raced around the world with their sales. They're quite cool. But anyway, well, that's good to hear. So, okay, making the decision. We've already discussed that, I know, but just the at the point you decided, okay, time to put the entry in. Was it what I call smooth sailing? You're just a professional and say, okay, that's just the next stage of doing this. Send the money in, or was there a bit of hesitation? And how did you feel once you sent the entry deposit and the entry form? What was the emotion there, or was there none?
Yeah, no. When I all of a sudden this when you could apply for 2022, when that came up, I was on my way home from. I'd been working for 2 weeks or something, and I went up, set the computer to like 4 in the morning, writing the application, because I thought this is gonna fill up like this, and I just have to finish it tonight to get.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
was
you
my
thought there was a big rush. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Actually, it's been pretty. This one's been pretty good. I mean, sometimes we do get a big rush, and people pay their deposit,
Yeah.
and then they blow their deposit because they just fade away. But what over time we've increased the deposit size, so that
Yeah.
the people we only want the people that are really going to go. And there's everyone that's not made it. I think there's been 5 or 6 or maybe 7 that haven't. They fully intended to go, and then something's happened along the way. So anyway, we've still got 24 there, and law of averages says we're probably going to get 22 starters, but hopefully we get all 24. But it's always a challenge because you're very organised. There's still a couple that are a long way away, still building boats and things like that. So anyway, yeah. So is the GGR right now delivering what you expect? Like, was it fun building rebuilding the boat and getting the boat and doing all your training now, or was it high pressure and just like a lot of work?
Yeah, I know it. I because I've done refits on 2 or 3 boats before, so I know it's a lot of work. But I didn't know what. I had never expected it to be this intense, and I never done anything like this. I've been totally obsessed now for the last few years. So I'm lucky I have kind of good friends, and they still stick around even though I don't have time to see them.
Yeah. And what do they think? What do your friends think? What about your parents? Are they still around? What do they think you're doing? Yeah, what are they thinking?
Yeah, my parents, I don't think they're super happy about this. Maybe they are, but they're used to me doing different strange things. So, and most of my friends says it's a little bit crazy or it sounds sketchy, but they also think it's really cool. Yeah.
Okay. And during the race, or even right now, what's drawing you into the GGR? What's your, is it like some point during the race that you're really looking forward to it? Is it Cape Horn? Is it just being with the other entrants, or is it just the dream of getting to the finish? How you feeling? Where's the highlight? What's pulling you in?
Yeah, that's now it's been so intense. So now I'm looking forward to the start and find this island in the Canaries, and after that relax a little bit south in the Atlantic.
Yeah.
That's how it feels now, because I'm a little bit overworked maybe, but I'm looking forward to the whole experience, especially being to get together and see everyone else and have a look at their boats and
Yeah. Have you tried to analyze why you're doing it? You know, what made you decide to want it? Well, we've discussed that, getting into it, but you know why you're doing it? Like you're facing challenges all the time, even at work. Every dive must be challenging. But what's the essence? What's the driving force behind you to do the GGR? Or why you're doing it?
I don't know. I always had like plans so I always have a plan, something I want to achieve, something I want to do, and to work towards that. And if I don't have anything to work towards, it's then I don't know what I'll do. So, but I started thinking about this when I read A World of My Own by Robin Knox Johnson, probably 15 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. So in the scheme of things, I mean, in your life to this moment, where does the GGR fit? Is it one of the biggest things you've done, or it's on a par with your other around the world, or your diving training, or whatever?
It's the biggest thing by far.
Yeah.
The second biggest thing I did was I had my own diving company for a few years together with a good friend of mine, and that's also a lot of work to run your own business. But we sold it luckily, and I'm never gonna run my own business again because that's also. But GGR is more intense than that.
Okay, and so are you a racing guy? You're a cruising guy? What's the objective? Are you going to try and get into it, or you just want to get to the finish?
I have had different thoughts, and at times I thought the goal should be to finish only, and then at some times I have felt, no, I'm gonna try to sail really, really well, and but now lately it feels like maybe I should. The goal should be to finish, and if I finish, then that is really good.
Yeah, it's really hard to predict. Everyone gives a similar, everyone, but answers are always different from each entrant, but it's a bit similar because there's nothing worse. If you've got another boat beside you and he starts pulling away from you, you don't want him to go away. You want to try to catch up. So anyway, but
I mean, there's Damien, the French guy, and I don't have any illusion of being as good as a sailor as he is. And then there's a lot of other racers as well. So and I never been in a sailboat race before, other than when you're next in some boat, you try to them.
Yeah, because Christopher's out there in his OE32 as well. Have you met him? He's there's another OE32 in the race.
No,
there's two more. You got three. You got three in the race.
Yeah.
No,
but I'm following him on the yellow brick or on his track. Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing his qualifier now, and then Isla is over he's in Canada, but his boat's here, so he's coming back to do his qualifier shortly as well. So that'll be fun having three. It's like the Saga 36s. I was talking to Michael the other day, and they got three Saga 36s, and you got three OE32s. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be last.
And then there's in this edition there's a few Bob Perry designs as well.
Yeah. But our Vig supplied. I mean, I don't want to bring it up. He's not your mentor or anything, but jeepers, he sailed really well before he got knocked down. I mean, he was screaming. Everyone was thinking, "Holy dooly, look at that guy!" In fact, I'm surprised. I mean, he might see this because he's got the connection to the boat, but I'm surprised he's never come back. Because he's a sailor. He's a competitive guy as well, but it's probably his box. He has the money box, and there was never enough money in the box. But nice guy. Yeah. So good story.
It's you need you need time, and you need money, and you need
absolutely. Yeah, a bit of a trick. Okay, I'm going to put you through the grinder here. You've probably seen what happens. I'm going to give you a word association, right? I'm going to chuck some words at you, and you can just tell me the first thing that comes into your mind. Okay, you ready to go?
Yeah.
Radio. Space.
Huh?
Space,
Again?
like in space with the
Oh,
stars.
space. Yeah, for sure. Interesting.
Fear.
Yeah, that's important to handle. Yeah.
Money.
Yeah, that's important for some people. Me as well.
Southern Ocean.
That, yeah, respect.
Excitement.
Yeah, I'm excited to get started on the qualifier.
Drogue.
Yeah, I have one.
Books.
Yeah, I have a book list, so I'm gonna buy a few books now. That's one of the last things to do.
Risk.
Sorry, you dropped out.
Risk.
Risk management.
Cold.
Normal.
Life.
Good.
Death.
Not today.
Holidays.
Yeah, I don't know what that is anymore.
Winner.
Everyone who signs up for this race, I think.
Panic.
Not good, but can happen.
Knife.
Oh yeah. It's a Japanese buka knife.
Okay.
I'll bring this. Yeah.
Yeah, important. Okay. Albatross.
Never seen them, but looking forward to see them. Yeah.
Bowline.
Yeah, that's a handy knot.
Okay. Suhaili.
Yeah, that's Robin Knox Johnson's boat, and that's that's a legend.
Luck.
Everyone needs it.
Lonely.
No.
Woman.
Very nice.
Okay. On that note, we'll finish the questions. That's cool. All right. So now you just got to pick a number. I'm going to give you these number segments. 10 digit groups, and that'll tell me the question that I'm going to ask you. Okay. So between 1 and 10.
8.
8. What do you know a lot about?
Strange things. One of my interests is boat design, and so I read a lot about sailboat designs, and then I read a little bit about philosophy and strange stuff like that.
Okay, so you're a book nerd. Rightio. Between 11 and 20.
18.
18. What's the first? That's crazy. These are exactly the same questions I asked buddy Michael the other day. What's the first thing you do when you wake up?
Make a cup of coffee.
Yep. Okay. Rightio. 21 to 30.
24.
24. What's your nickname and why? Have you got a nickname?
No, my mother calls me Danne.
Dania.
Yeah,
Dan, like in diving.
Yeah, and some friends here call me Dan.
Why do they call you Dan?
Because it rhymes with the man.
Oh, okay. Dan the Man. Rightio. We had a Dan the Man in the MGR, the Mini Globe Race. We had 2 Dans. So we had Holiday Dan and Dan the Man. Anyway. Okay. Between 31 and 40.
34.
34. Did your parents do a good job of raising you, and why?
Yeah, I think they did a decent job. I had a perfect childhood. I grew up on the countryside. I could run wild in the forest and my farms, and so that was really something.
What got you into diving, by the way? Did that happen going sailing around the world or something?
No, I've always been a water person, and so I started diving because I tried to be a firefighter, as I mentioned before, and the other firefighters had this commercial diving school, and yeah.
Okay. Yeah, cool. All right, 41 to 48.
42.
42. Any particular reason you chose 42?
Yeah, the meaning of life, the universe, and everything.
Okay. That's not the question, but I just thought I'd ask that. Okay, how many hours sleep do you usually get, and why?
Yeah, around 7, and I'll try to sleep more, but I wake up.
Yeah, okay. Yep, just like me. Rightio, now it gets very crazy. Very crazy. You got to pick a letter between A and N.
B.
B. Oh, jeepers. The coincidence here is crazy. Is cereal a soup? Cereal.
No.
Is cereal a soup?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Okay. Why not?
Soup is food and cereal is junk food.
Michael Ritchie, buddy, asked us, got the same question. So I'll pick another letter between A and B, but not between A and N, but not B.
D.
D. Why are manhole covers round? You know the manhole cover in the road. You know the manhole covers.
Yeah.
Why are they round?
Yeah. Why? Because the hole is round.
That's very good. I like that. That's a very good answer. Okay, you're doing well on this. Pick another letter now, not B or D.
F.
F. If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be and why?
I think I would be an oak tree because I think they live for a long time and they can get to see a lot.
Okay, cool. All right. How many months in the year have 28 days?
1.
No, 12.
Everyone.
Okay. Well, that was cool. So, all very good. So okay. Who's your? I mean, you may not have anyone, but who's your biggest inspiration in life?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have like a super big. But for this special race, I think I was very. I'm impressed with Robin Knox Johnson and his trip around the world, and not at least when he gave all the prize money to the family of Crowhurst.
Yeah, pretty amazing. What? Because that was Robin's one of my 3 inspiring people in my life. What's your takeaway from the book? Do you remember, I could rattle off 5 or 6 or 7 different incidents that completely blew me away in the book. Can you describe some of your biggest takeaways from reading that book?
Yeah, one of them is when he had leaks and he had to dive down and hammer in under the boat. And, to get that fixed and keep on going, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
How he managed, he got his water tanks was infested with seawater and so
he has like about 30 gallons left or something, and he's heading towards Cape Horn. Crazy, eh?
Yeah.
One of my big ones is when he got that first big knockdown as he was entering the Southern Ocean, and the cabin side pulls away from the deck, and it's got all the way down. Anyway, we digress. But an amazing book, and it still lives with me today. I mean, every time. Anyway, I digress. Okay, well, that's all pretty cool. So anything you want to talk about, about your GGR? Anything you want to get across to your followers or friends that might be watching? There's a few watching there.
Yeah, no, it's when the race starts, they just have to look on the daily tracker update on YouTube and go to the webpage where you can see all the boats where they are on the tracker. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you're as a commercial diver? I've done a bit of diving, not a commercial diver, but I've done a lot of diving. and I know what you go through to get there. Do you think that's prepared you really well for this sort of adventure?
Yeah, maybe to some extent, but mostly because I worked as a commercial diver. I worked a lot on boats, like small, tiny anchor handlers and so on, putting out moorings to fish farms, and so a lot of these seamanship type things comes through work. You're not sailing, but you're always handling ropes and so on. Yeah.
Tell me your biggest drama diving. You must have had something,
Yeah.
Have you ever been bent?
Yeah, we have we dive with a hose and we have a helmet on and so on. And I was drilling a rock. I was drilling into the rock with a hydraulic hammer, and I felt the air started. I didn't get enough air, but I didn't want to let go of the hammer, so I said I have problems with the air, and so the guys upside thought it was the air that blows through the hammer. So they went out to check that, and then I thought, okay, it's no air left, so I opened the spare, but the spare was already open. So I sucked my bailout bottle empty on the back, and at the same time there was some problem with the air from upside. So I tried to pull my weights, but I had leads on the feet and the chest as well. So I couldn't swim up, so I had to climb up the rocks and the mountains. But I got up and I got the helmet off, and was okay. Yeah.
Holy dooly. Okay, so that's interesting. I won't go into it, but I actually had a 5-man recompression chamber at one stage on our little ship. It was a long story. Anyway, but yeah, I did some good diving. Okay, in your trip around the world that you did in your cruising boat, right? What was the biggest highlight or the biggest disaster or whatever? So you just give us a story off of that trip, because things must have happened. You were solo, Yeah,
I crashed with a ferry in the Philippines.
You crashed with a ferry?
Yeah, I went into an island called Sikihor, and I anchored quite far out, and some official people came out and told me I had to go into the bay and anchor. And I had a really bad feeling because it was such a tight spot.
Yeah.
So I had to put out the bow and stern anchor to be inside where the ferry comes. So when the ferry came in at night, I woke up because I was a little bit. I thought it was close, and he turned around, dropped his anchor, backed into the dock, and so on, and everything was fine. And he loaded up on some cars, and he went out, and he picked his anchor up very slowly, but he went quite fast forward. So his big anchor hooked my anchor.
Oh, nice!
And he ripped me out of there and pulled me out of the bay, and they told me to go away, and I had to explain, no, I can't go away because my anchor is stuck on your anchor. By the time I got the anchor loose, I was already outside the reef, and the spreaders kept hitting the ferry, so I was afraid. The rig was going to,
Yeah. Wow, that's cool. So you must feel good then. I'll be going the wrong way, I suppose. But how was your rounding of Cape Good Hope into Cape Town with the weather and the Gullis Current?
That was good. It was really fun to sail around South Africa. I came from Madagascar to South Africa and Richards Bay, and that was like a cool, same as in the mini globe race. You sit around.
You were watching. I see it pop up every time. That's because you've already been down there. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, so you just wait for a good weather window, and then you go with the current. And
go for it, So that's cool. So you've been down there before, so that's a bit encouraging when you're going south. So, you know the area. Anyway.
That's probably, like, current and wind against current, that's probably one of my biggest fears. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think we've all been there at some stage, but anyway. But in the GGR, it's interesting because generally speaking, it's not exactly the trade winds, but it's just clipper ship routes. You know what I mean? So if you're lucky, you'll do all right. But I remember when I went round the Cape Good Hope, I was talking to Philippe Jonteau then. He was he wasn't my mentor, but he was giving me advice and opinions. And one time, I had a GPS, had a very early military GPS. And one time I'm sailing along about 5 knots, 6 knots, 7 knots, and I'm doing like 2 knots. I couldn't work out what was going on. It was nuts. And I was in one of the eddies of the Agulhas Current, quite a way down further south. But anyway, very confusing. So there's a bit there. Anyway, I digress. Well, listen, that's really good fun. I think you've got a great boat. It looks to be incredibly well prepared, touch wood. So take care when you're doing the next diving session.
Yeah.
And enjoy the qualifier. You know, that'll be quite a big one for you, eh?
Yeah, that will be, and I think it will be, as long as I get around the British Islands there and get a little bit further south, it will be okay.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, we'll all look forward to seeing you in Les Sables d'Olonne, and it's going to be fun. It's great to watch. 3 Saga 36s, 3 OE 32s. We've got, I think, we've got 3 Cape George 36s as well, same as Kirsten. So there's going to be all these little races going on in between each other. So yeah, a bit of fun. All right. Well, great to have you there. We'll look forward to seeing you soon, eh?
Yeah. Fun to talk, Don, and see you soon in France.
Yeah, exactly. No problem. All right. Catch you later, hey?
Yeah. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Stay there.